So here's the key. Not only are we connecting people to come to destination farms, ranches, wellness centers, and retreat centers, but what we're doing is we are creating commonalities and synergies between different farms and ranches where they have the same mission. Because I've been going around New Mexico helping farmers out because one person has 200 acres of land, and if their car breaks down and they're in the middle of nowhere and they are not able to even get help. However, when I say workforce, wellness, and agritourism, here's how it all ties together, because community is like all farms create a farming community. A little town is a community, or a city is a community, or a neighborhood is a community. But what this is doing is this is actually reinvigorating the opportunity for farms and ranches and wellness centers and retreat centers to create unique, customized jobs based on who the people are that are coming. That's not being done, and that's why kids are leaving the rural areas after high school. So we are creating opportunities where they can learn a wellness modality. They have some kind of skill that no one else is doing there. There are a lot of things going on around in New Mexico where they're taking smaller areas and bringing in art galleries and things like that. Right now, I'm in the process with my colleague with the community grid, Claudia, of creating field trips for elders. And then they actually bring art and their own skills to these farms and ranches. All of this is about attracting people to the farms and ranches and experiencing things they've never experienced before. Most people are coming out to see what it's like to actually work a farm and ranch. And so this is something where people pay for this. I heard about a large ranch in Oklahoma. They charge $1,500 per person for, I think, 3 days to rustle cattle. So they get free labor, get paid for the labor, but these people leave with an experience where they see where their food comes from, and how important agriculture and farms and ranches are to our lives generally. So this is something where families also can engage in a different way than going to Disney World or something like that. There's nothing wrong with it. But wouldn't it be amazing just to step out in nature, hike around with your kids, talk without your phones in front of you? We are creating an opportunity for the farms and ranches to make a living while living off the land. We give them, so what we do, David and I do, we consult with these ranches and give them the opportunities that make sense to them so that you can have these agritourism experiences. Every person you meet that comes to you as a guest is another opportunity to learn something new about what people like. It's also about sharing the love of what you do on your farm or ranch, or the one that you want to start that's in your head. We help you get that up and running so it can be lucrative for you. It can be engaging and also give you pride about what you're doing, but also you're teaching, helping people learn, helping people heal, just like by bringing them out to your beautiful destination. So you don't have to be alone if you're in this space. We can figure out a solution.
Working with intentional communities too. We want to be able to bring 80 acres and have where you can live, play, and earn. Our concept is an employee-owned company that or a co-op that the individuals working on the farm get the benefits of the overall corporation, to be able to just sustain themselves and bring them back to nature and allow them to be there instead of working 10 hours a day and driving an hour and a half back and forth, and your day's already 13 hours gone. You get home, eat dinner, watch a little reality TV, and go to bed. And that's just not healthy. They've done a lot of studies on it, and when you can get back to nature, health has changed in individuals, and we really want to bring community. So we're working on veteran communities, and to where we can bring veterans in. There's too many homeless veterans there's over 40,000 just in America. We're working rural and urban, and our urban concepts are like to, be within 20 minutes, half hour of a populated area, so that we can have teen hours, hours for just teenagers. It's sad that you got to have the most fancy clothes and the fancy watch and everything else. So we want to open these communities and farms and allow like the teenagers and children to just come and be free and have different educational programs on everyone, to be able to allow them that freedom and to learn at their own pace, and maybe find something they really love, and have that space to just really be themselves.
Yeah, and talking about David, your son, and how he has enriched your life in the farms that you all been traveling to the past couple of years.
So about a year and a half ago, me and my son decided to, I was very stressed out in my construction business and came down with some health issues. So me and my son sat down and talked, and I was 10 years old at the time, and we decided to sell everything and buy a camper and start traveling the country. And we've been to Denver, all over Florida, Missouri, Ohio, and what we do is I homeschool him, and he's just been shining. They tried telling us in public schools that he had learning disabilities and everything else, and then when I got him out from the stereotypes and everything else, he just started shining, and it actually got his confidence back to understand that he is his education, and it's what he wants to learn. So we got a good 4 hours of school a day, and then he's got a few hours on the farm. He's helped raise 700 chickens on a farm that also had goats and a cow, and he would round up chickens to sell to other individuals so that they'd have fresh eggs for their family, and just great community. The farmers had spaces for individuals to come and stay for a week, a month, or years if they wanted to, just to and then feed them and volunteer. The individuals would volunteer, and the farmers would feed them 3 meals a day, and you'd work about 20 to 25 hours a week, and then you'd get to pretty much just like a free vacation, and you get to wander around Miami and the beaches and Naples, and we're in Homestead, Florida, which is a very popular agriculture area there, and then going all the way to Denver and seeing a mushroom lab that brings gourmet mushrooms and medicinal mushrooms to individuals, and just to I always believe that with my son, that even though he's only 10, but he can speak on a Zoom call, he can speak in front of a group, because I've always allowed him to sit in and watch, and I never pressured him to do it, but after time and time again, he would it just came to nature to him, and he really loves being able to learn all the different plants. He was taught how to climb a coconut tree and how to open up coconuts, and everything from weeding to planting trees, and really just getting them back to nature. And in that time, he would be 6 hours, 8 hours, it'd get dark out, and he wouldn't even think of an electronic or anything of the sort, because he was just so happy that with the things that he was doing and the friends he was making, the volunteers on the farms were like big brothers and sisters, and we took them coconut hunting, and we would go on trips with them to national parks, and just really allowing him to shine in his own ways. And I think that's one thing we've lost with our children, you know, and get back to nature, and for him to watch his food grow and being able to harvest it and make his own smoothies from the fruits that he picked from the tree. And it's the last year and a half's just been amazingly wonderful for him. And I mean, he can sit with an adult and hold a conversation for hours or two, and you wouldn't even think you were sitting there talking to a 10-year-old. And he can tell you about his adventures and different things that he's done. You know, I think Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., this is what he was talking about. You know, eventually we want to grow to like having these intentional communities to where we can help homeless individuals actually have a place to go.
I met little David at a networking meeting in Chicago where I invited David to. I know him in New Mexico, but I mean, like, I was in awe of this boy. And the thing is, how often do we ask kids for their input on what's happening in the world? How often do we ask elders to help us? Or do we assume they're not capable enough? Capability is all generations. Even someone who has their pinky is all they can move, give them something to do with that pinky. So this is not about, oh, well, they're sick, or, you know, there's COVID or something. In the great outdoors, it's all fresh air. And it's an opportunity for people to come out in the winter, even in the depth of cold, all the way to the heat of summer, together and observe each other and find a synergy together where they actually can be curious again. So many people right now are fearful, but when you go out to these destinations, and we are putting more and more on our website, which we will include somewhere for you, what's happening is if you go out to nature, you learn a lot more about yourself. When I was probably about 10 years ago, I was living in the suburbs of Chicago, and I had this dream, and it was called, and I heard the acronym RANT, and it's Rest and Nature Can Heal. Well, I've done a video on this before, but rest is the pandemic. The lack of rest is the pandemic. Yes, we have COVID, but people are not resting well. And whenever you get into nature, there's no distractions. There's only sitting, observing, sitting with yourself. Just do something different so that they can be healthier. So it's even on that micro level where we give people who want their backyard to carry on these concepts all the way to the 100,000 acre ranches. So this is something where anybody who's ready to live off the land and make some extra money, or just want to experience it for your own well-being and maybe share it with people in your neighborhood. We have a mentor named John Morris with Global One. He's a really good mentor, and he always talks about 2 by 2 by 2. So just like I said at the beginning of the presentation, you have 2 people with an idea that's synergistic, and then we start telling 2 more each, and then 2 more each. Before you know it, you have families involved, different people involved. This is how the community grid even grew to this point. We were just going to start a couple of ranches, and now we are helping ranches. So just go with it, where you just tell people about certain things. Get together people in your neighborhood, at your workplace, and just ask them, hey, you would help me in my yard? Or do you want to come out to my ranch and hold the chickens so they get more acclimated to humans, or anything? And then it turns into something bigger than you can even imagine. So that's the point of making this unity happen, is that if we unify with a common cause, it ends up to be something much more meaningful and much more profound.
My 19-year-old's going to college for greenhouse agriculture. And he first started his college venture as wanting to be a pilot, and then COVID came through, so we were didn't have much space in the house to grow seedlings and stuff, so we had a crawl space, and we got in the crawl space and created this area to be able to start seeding plants for the spring. And come that spring, my son gives me a call and said, "Dad, I just loved watching the plants grow." He's like, "I changed my major." He's like, "I don't want," he's like, "I'll take a side note on flying airplanes," but he's like, I really enjoy watching the plants grow and be able to harvest what I eat, and it's so much more satisfying than going to the grocery store and purchasing a $4 pepper or whatnot. So when you grow yourself, it's just and being able to harvest it's just enlightening to all. Being a single father a long time and being proud of them for handling themselves and being able to make those decisions and follow their heart instead of following a plan. And that's exactly what they've done.
When I first moved here, well, about 3 months after I got to New Mexico, almost a year ago, I had this dream, and it said, "Get your hands in the dirt." And I thought I was this is just a good example for all of us, because we get set in our ways of what's expected of us instead of what's really the highest good for us. So anyway, I became a woofer thanks to David. I knew about the woofing program, which is, he mentioned earlier, where you can volunteer on farms and ranches for room and board. And I went to this regenerative farm, and we started in the snow in last March, and but we had these greenhouses, and it was every day we'd be like, "How are the babies doing?" And we would go touch the plants and like see the sprouts come up, and there was a beautiful excitement between us, like it was a birthday party or something. It was like really like, "How are the babies today? Oh my God, look, they're getting bigger," and look at it. And it was like something where we couldn't wait to get to the greenhouse to see it. And I want you to really think about what you're doing in your day. What is, are you stressed out about something? Well, where's the beauty? And, it doesn't have to be nature, but you can ask yourself that question. Like, I don't get excited like that. But whenever you are, again, I'll use the word contribution, contributing to something that actually it takes care of itself. We plant the seed into water and it takes care of itself, even though we have all these agricultural ideals. But the reason we were so excited is because we never realized what a miracle each one of those little sprouts was. How it does it on its own with very little help, and that we get to benefit from it so we can grow just like they do. And that's what I noticed is like, I am the queen of weed picking. I picked weeds for probably total of like 5 weeks if I put it all together. But you really learn about that too. Weeds are not bad. COVID is not bad. Stress is not bad. It's just something that is resilient and takes over whenever we're not treating the soil the way it should be. So we can learn so much from these metaphors in nature about, if we have healthy soil, your plants are going to grow and the weeds aren't going to grow as readily, which is regenerative agriculture. But it really opens your mind into your internal self and how you live your life. And we can learn it from animals, plants, earthing with our bare feet on the ground, observing nature, observing storms coming in, hiking, getting lost in the forest, just sitting in the sun. All of these things can give us things that actually get us out of the fears and the stress that we really allow in ourselves. So this is about getting in tune with all life. We're just as much alive as that sprout. And so that's what we're letting people do, is help go to these places so they can see life in a different light.
there's no race and community. There's no economic stature. There's no there's just no judgment. We're not here to put labels on people, but we want you to come and be yourself and find the things that you can actually shine in and that you love to do, and you want to wake up in the morning and be able to do it, and you can kick open your front door and you're there already, and you're just like with a smile on your face. And I was on a farm in Ohio, and there was a bull, mama cow, and a donkey. And when I would drive in, when I pull into the driveway, you can hear them. They start mooing and just having us, calling for us to come over to give them a good pet and just try to lick us with that huge tongue that they have, but just they're part of a community too. The plants,
yes, they are.
The plants, the animals, the individuals, the spirits, everything is community.
Sometimes to get a new perspective. And I've lived in communal housing since March, and it's been really great because we sit around the kitchen table literally and have a kitchen table conversation about anything from racism to relationships to how we can synergize together to grow this business here at Leaping Deer Ranch in Sapio, all the way to ideas, sharing our past, and mentoring each other. It's a beautiful space to sit at a kitchen table with people that I didn't even know a few months ago. And we have differences of opinion, but you know what? We work synergistically together even so, because we are here for a reason, and we feel like we need to be here and help with the mission of the person who created this. So it's a beautiful thing to step away and get a different perspective. And I just so happened in the middle of New Mexico, in the middle of nowhere, meet some people from Ohio. And I told them we're going to be there, and they said, oh, well, we do tours of Cincinnati, and you can have a whole day tour with us for free. We're going to take you around, but we're friends just because we met for 5 minutes. And even the people in Ohio haven't done that Cincinnati tour, historical tour. So you just never know how your life is going to be enriched by stepping away. So we're offering these opportunities. We're putting together the network, and we're in the process of putting together the network online right now of who we're collaborating with, and our farms and ranches. We have flower farmers, we have everybody, so that you have options where you can have a destination to go to, or start your own community wellness center, or work with us to volunteer or work. We can get you a job at one of these places where you resonate, or if you want to start a project with elders or kids or the intergenerational, it all ties in together. It's very synergistic. So we're here to be your facilitators for that, to help you find the fit that will create a beautiful future for the rest of your life. Whether you live somewhere or you just visit, it all is beautiful.
Well, that's the great thing about community kitchens. The food's there, and then the leftovers are in the fridge for anybody to help. Yeah. But there was no, this is mine, or this is the. You may go to the fridge and say, "Oh, doggone," but but there was never a sour moment of like, "Oh, they stole my stuff," No. So to have that community in the meal times, and the farmers at that location, 8 o'clock was breakfast and 6 o'clock was dinner, and you were there, and the farmer's husband, he was the jokester, so we'd sit around and tell jokes and laugh, He was a chef and he told stories, and you know, he's a chef for Million and Billionaires. And one of the guys would be practicing yoga. Then you had another set over there playing music, and they were learning new songs, and they would teach my son how to play an instrument. And he had a little recorder, and he'd run into the camper and grab his recorder and get down with them. And they always gave him that opportunity to get in there and then try to work with what he was doing, and really make something good out of it for him. And you know, there's no difference. Even though you make $1 million and this guy makes 20,000, there's no difference between you. We all bleed red. We all cry, you know, at a death, and nobody's different. You know, old time farmers that don't want to leave their farm, and maybe their children don't want to farm the land and have to deal with it and all that kind of stuff. So with the non-for-profit, we put together a program to be able to keep the farmers in their house until they were ready to move to their next journey, and then, you know, the farm would stay active even as they left to their new journey, and their life legacy would live on. So that's definitely something big.
Talking about because farmers and ranchers, like I said earlier, are kind of on their own, and so they are focused on their ranching and farming. That's more than full time. They're out there at night harvesting, whatever. But this is for us to come up with those I don't even like the word solution, creative ways to create momentum for you, where money can come in the door and you can really enjoy it even more, and also benefit from people who are coming to see you and teaching them, you know, how important this is. So there's a lot of very creative things we can do with you. And David and I do free consultations, and it's just brainstorming how can we make this dream come true? I mean, this is my dream that I created, but how can I make your dream come true and to get you up and running? We also have contacts with government people, how to get grants, how to get funding. And we have the Fabulous 3, which is our marketing team that will our job is to also market you and get you out there so people know you exist. And we do it in a way, again, like David was saying, that Martin Luther King talks about beloved community. It's all about love. It's about coming together in love, doing what your passion is instead of sacrificing that because of practicality. We can help you make money doing what you love. If it's any of those things, from retreats to wellness, ranching, farming, permaculture classes in your backyard, I mean, anything, we can help you with that on every level. It's all about synergistically coming together with love and connection.